Welcome back. Prince Harry's grievance novel hits store shelves soon, but the leaks are upon us. Among the revelations, Harry thought his mom faked his death to run away, from royal life. Prince Harry admits watching Meghan Markle's suit's sex scenes was a mistake. Harry cops to lying about drug use. I had been doing cocaine. Prince Harry begged Dad King Charles not to marry Camilla as he feared she'd be an evil stepmom. Fact check, true. King Charles made sadistic jokes about Prince Harry's real dad. Memoir claims Prince Harry claims brother Prince William knocked him to the floor during a furious argument. My God, brothers fought. Emma Webb is here, director of the UK Common Sense Society and noted royal fact checker. Is this really like something we should take as being true, or just sort of like true in Harry's mind?
Well, they often talk about their truth, and I think that's a very important distinction to make because they are quite fast and loose with the facts. We know that they've, been fact-checked a number of times by various papers, and so we have to take a lot of what they say as, with a pinch of salt. We have to recognise that this is one side of the argument and is probably quite distorted by what seems to be quite irrational thinking on Harry's part.
How did we go from a buttoned-up royal family that was very careful in everything that came out about them, and the entire royal family sort of lives by that code, and then you've got Harry the outlier?
Harry is almost representative of a kind of millennial generation, a very different way of thinking, a different set of values that is in contrast and in conflict with the British values that are represented by not only the sort of head of the royal family now in Prince Charles and obviously the late Queen herself, but now also in the Prince and Princess of Wales with William and Kate. And I think that there's a real conflict of values there that the British people, are not particularly fond of the way that he's going about things. This biography was already being sold at half price on pre-sale. People were joking that jokingly calling it Harry Potter and the Half-Price Prince.
That's pretty good. In it, Prince Harry calls his therapist before his wife after being knocked to the floor by brother William during a furious row in 2019. In the excerpt, Harry claims William grabbed me by the collar, ripping my necklace and knocked me to the floor. I'm wondering if he actually expects us to believe these things, as if there's a man who would call his therapist rather than his wife after a fight with his brother.
What's also interesting about this is if you contrast this with the claims that Meghan made about not being allowed to access mental health support during that period of time. But it seems that Harry had a therapist on speed dial. So it seems a bit strange and in conflict if Harry had such fast access to a therapist while apparently Meghan was being denied that kind of help.
Yeah, never let facts get in the way of a good story or a new Netflix special. All right, so they've had their Oprah interview. They have had their $100 million Netflix deal in the documentary we had you on to discuss. He has his memoir, his 60-minute special. Then his ABC Good Morning America special will be coming out. At this point, are we finally done with them? And I ask this advisingly because you Brits have figured out a way to be done with them. We would like some advice.
Well, this is what I think it was a Toronto newspaper referred to as the trash and cash model. They're now on the gravy train, and I think they're going to find it very difficult to get off. And at this point, if you just look at some of the things that have come out through just the leaks, I mean, the book hasn't even been published in England yet. It's been mysteriously published early in Spain, and that's where a lot of these leaks are coming from.
Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to subscribe. Click the red button to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.